Hi guys. Well, I'm officially on the road, but the day has pretty much passed since I last did a diary or journal check-in. Had quite an interesting day, but I am now out of West Palm Beach, and I have just passed Palm City, almost coming to Port St. Lucie. And as I'm driving, let me tell you a little bit about what happened today. The Lord is good. The Lord is real good. And let me tell you why. So the time came for me to leave, and of course, keep in mind, I've changed all the tires of the trailer because the ones that were on there, although they looked pretty good, they had a little bit, just the beginnings of what I would say was dry rot, and I didn't trust them. And the fourth tire had a huge gouge in it that you probably can see from the pictures. And so I changed them all out, and by the time it was time to rock and roll today, I loaded everything up, checked everything, got lights working, and took off. Said my goodbyes to Ryan and got onto I-95 heading out of Boynton Beach. And just as I was getting on the entrance ramp, I began to pray and started asking the Lord to protect me and to keep a watchful eye over me. And I just happened to say, please protect other people as well, because I don't know about you guys, anybody that's driven on 95 anywhere between here and New York City, you know what I'm talking about. There's just some crazy nuthouse cases driving. So I hadn't gotten 30 seconds done with that prayer and got on to 95, and wouldn't you know, my left wheel to my trailer, and I have a double axle, came off. I noticed that it was shifting just slightly, and I looked in my side mirror, and just in time to see it come off and shoot into rush hour traffic. Not good. And it just bounced over this beautiful pearl white Lexus, and it did tag what was a wrecker, basically. But I didn't see that so much because I was busy trying to pull over. By the time I did get over off onto the shoulder, I made a fast assessment that at least one of the tires was still on that side and holding the trailer up. And then I immediately ran forward to the Lexus who had gone on by me and pulled over. He had, in his spare time, he had pulled over back behind me, pulled the tire out of the middle of 4 lanes of rush hour traffic, and then drove on past me and pulled over. He was perfectly fine and didn't have any problems at all. And then the wrecker pulled up about 40 yards behind me. I could see where the tire had tagged the bumper and couldn't tell if there was much other damage. So I immediately, after I cleared that the Lexus was good, I then told him I needed to go check on the wrecker, and went back and checked on him. He wanted to know that I was okay, but sure enough, the tire had tagged his front grille, which was plastic. So the bottom line is I paid him $150, which is all he wanted. I'm actually hauling a couple of bottles of wine for my family who drink a little bit of wine up there, and as a present, I'm taking about 10 bottles of wine up to them. They don't know that yet, but anyway, I gave him a couple because he I asked him if he drank wine, and he said, yeah. Now, I'm not a wine drinker, but my boss gave me about 70 bottles from his old wine cellar when he moved to a much larger one. So I have these in stock, and I give them away as gifts and presents to people. Nonetheless, he was fine with the grill. I was in shock that everything was fine there. And lo and behold, just as I'm finishing with him, I go back to go get the tire, which is on the side of the road. And a road ranger pulls up and puts cones out around my trailer before I can even get back, and has assessed it and has already picked up any kind of debris and stuff on the side so that everything's clear. When I get back to him, he asks me before anything if I can pull the trailer over so that it's not so dangerously close to the road during rush hour traffic, of which I do. And sure enough, he has this big jack, and I go wheeling the tire back, but of course, no bolts. 6 bolts are all missing, and still haven't figured out why it came off. But whatever the case is, I told him, and he said, we'll take a bolt off of each of the other tires, and that will be able to at least get you to the next exit and get you to wherever you need to take this, which it did. And he jacked it up, put the other tire back on, took off the bolts, and then checked all 3 of the other tires to make sure those were secure, tightened all the bolts, and I tried to pay him, I tried to thank him, he didn't want to take anything, and I was in amazement that he was so kind. And this is the Road Rangers, and I'll put a shout out because I saw on his jacket he apparently is working for AAA, or not AAA, but State Farm Insurance. So, guys, this could have been really serious. This could have been deadly, could have been terrible. But the Lord, He hears prayer. And I am convinced that that's exactly what happened today, was the Lord was watching over me. I took the trailer back in town, found an advanced auto, got some more bolts, put them on to their appropriate wheels, and then I was so rattled and shook up I needed to kind of just sit tight for a little bit. I was already running late to get out. I had hoped to get out this morning, but things just, one thing led to another. So I pulled up to my house, and funny enough, I got out of the car, and my runner lights had not worked. They weren't really working. And I had done everything I could to try to get everything going before I left, but I hadn't taken any time for the runner lights. And I was debating whether to leave the trailer and just come up in the truck. The problem with that was, of course, I've already put deposit down on the site where I'm parking the trailer, and I will lose that if I default. So, I was already down $150, and I really needed to take a gamble as to whether I should keep going or whether I should just take the truck. Decided to take the runner lights as a sign to keep going, and here I am. And I'm about almost to Fort Pierce. Gonna be traveling. Saw a beautiful sunset, and been checking the tires, checking the pressure, pulled into a rest area. So I'm doing fine, and the Lord's just been having a good time watching me see how much faith I have, and I'm trusting Him as I go. This is kind of a maiden voyage for me, and I am wanting to, take my time and make sure things go well. But nonetheless, the Lord knows what He's doing, and I'm just trusting Him as I go. So know that the Lord is in control, and that He is faithful, and He takes care of His own. So just wanted to give you a quick update how things are going, and know that you can trust the Lord with your life. Amen. Hope you're doing well, and I'll keep you posted as I go. Blessings.